Hello, this is Mark Smith with Family Tree Counseling Associates from Carmel, Indiana, near Indianapolis. And as you know, I've been working on a book about abandonment issue recovery called The Top 10 Power Tools for Managing Your Abandonment Issues. It's written in tandem with my first book on abandonment issues, Managing Abandonment Issues Through Recovery. I have a chapter from Managing Abandonment Issues Through Recovery, chapter 22, when I begin the discussion of the recovery process. My second book on abandonment issues is going to focus more on tangible tools, specifically concrete actions you can take to build up a reservoir of positive recovery energy that can really help you battle your abandonment issues. But this is just a dialogue, it's just a discussion about the recovery process, more general as I covered in the first book, but I'm going to be getting a lot more specific in this second book. My writing process has been a bit stalled. I am going away for 4 days to my little Louisville pond and hotel to focus on the book and hopefully knock a lot of it out. Just me and my dog, Mr. Polly, my beagle, are going to go hide away and write and hopefully knock a lot of it out. So the title of my video today is called Recovery for Abandonment Infested Couples. I love the title of the video, Recovery for Abandonment Infested Couples. If you are a couple that has really nasty abandonment issues, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It feels like you're overrun with cockroaches. It feels like you're demon possessed. It feels like you're infested with a disease because it's more powerful than you are. And it takes you over and it runs you. Start with a quote by a fella named Bill Balance. When a man is in love or in debt, someone else has the advantage. Sort of a crafty little quote. So, the word treatment, people want to know, how do you treat abandonment issues? The word treatment generally precedes the word recovery. However, I object to the word treatment. It's a medical word. We at Family Tree Counseling Associates do not believe in the medical model. We believe in recovery. Recovery is knowing the truth about yourself and then fully engaging in addressing those issues in individual, couple, and or group therapy, reading recovery material, journaling, involvement in 12-step programs, and whatever else it takes. I attended a week-long men's group back in 2007 that was strong enough to help me start the process of recovery for my out-of-control addictive relationship addiction. Doctors treat you, but in recovery, you are responsible for doing the work. In my work with couples and individuals, people are responsible for the work, and they don't just come to counseling. If they do, they don't make much lasting progress. It's the couples who get into recovery that really change their lives and change their marriages. So after the couple first sessions where I'm doing an assessment, the third session I'll give you a lot of feedback. It might be a 2-hour meeting. I'm doing a lot of cutting, a lot of surgery, a lot of feedback, a lot of truth telling. But after that, The ball is in your court. You have to search around and decide what to talk about. And I will always start the session by saying, what do you want to work on? Because that's your job, and the therapy has to be based on what's coming up in you. So I train them to come prepared, and they're responsible for the quality of the work. If they don't bring in good material to engage me, I really don't have much to say. Recovery is a lifelong process. You won't be in therapy your whole life, thank goodness, but you will be in recovery for the rest of your life if you're going to get better and stay better. So if you and your significant other are suffering from abandonment issues, that's a very significant thing. Those abandonment issues I consider to be the most painful issues known to mankind. So they're just not going to go away by themselves. You're going to need effective help. This problem will certainly not go away on its own. It'll only get worse on its own. If you're honest with yourself, you know that. It's high time you learn what's causing your pain and then get started on the process of learning how to effectively manage it. The best thing that can happen is that you develop a trusting relationship with an experienced, unbiased, insightful, courageous, confrontational, yet kind therapist, and they can serve as your relationship referee until you both have enough recovery under your belts to communicate safely and effectively at home for free. If you and your spouse suffer from serious abandonment issues, then you need to understand exactly you're going to understand exactly what I mean by needing a referee. Naming the underlying abandonment issue, particularly naming its particular manifestation in that particular situation, and providing a safe place in which to dialogue, these are all priceless gifts to couples suffering from abandonment issues. Finding an effective therapist can literally mean the difference between a nightmarish divorce and ultimately building a fairly safe and fulfilling marriage. And that's the truth, and it's really scary. Working with couples that have abandonment issues as a therapist is like juggling dynamite. I mean, they tend to be very volatile, and if they're too volatile and they're not teachable, I can't help them. It's hard to even keep them in the room or get them to reschedule because they're so blinded to who they are and the work that's going on around them. They're so hooked into what the other person's saying and doing that they're really not doing therapy. It's a couple of drunks having a brawl at the therapist's office, drunk on abandonment issues, that is. Understanding as much truth as you can swallow about your loved one's abandonment issues is an absolute godsend. If you don't know what's going on and they don't know what's going on, then you'll constantly be sucked into the craziest dance on earth, early and often. The reason this crazy dance happens is you're actually just as crazy as they are. If you're in love with somebody and they're crazy, I just got done doing a video on, narcissism, and the guy might be a sociopath, but if he is, that makes you pretty crazy too. So we always pick somebody just as healthy or unhealthy as we are. This isn't a situation with one sick person and one person who has to suffer and help the sick one. There's two unhealthy people here in this relationship. If your sweetie doesn't own their abandonment issues, then you need to walk out. They have to own it. They have to be able to see it. They can't and won't get better until they first own their stuff. That means understanding that abandonment is rooted in their childhood Specifically, how it gets expressed in your relationship needs to be discussed. If you stay in the relationship with somebody who denies the call about their abandonment issues, you evidently still have the psychological need to dance with somebody who occasionally acts like a mean, dangerous, fire-breathing dragon. And I'm not judging that. You'll be done when you're done, not a minute before. Your dragon is your therapy. Your dragon is a gift. And they probably won't get better until and unless you stop tolerating their craziness. You're fooling yourself if you think the two of you can untangle your crazy dance without a very active, spirited instruction of a very talented therapist who knows a great deal about abandonment issues. A great therapist can break down your weekend like a football analyst breaks down a football play. They're objective, hopefully quite insightful and powerful. They can drop flags like a referee when they see an infraction of the rules of the therapy session. You know that credit card commercial that says such and such costs $50, such and such is $100, such and such is priceless? Well, if you find a really sharp therapist who cuts like surgical laser through the BS of your abandonment denial reactivity and insanity and that of your partner, that's absolutely positively priceless. You can't put a price on breaking that stuff down and having two people who were previously drunk on abandonment, sober and insightful and safe therapy buddies. That rocks. Working hard in therapy together and reading this book will give you a common, healthy language you both can use to try to see and hear each other better. The more you know, the better off you both will be. It won't fix things fully by a long shot, but the insight and enlightenment will certainly be a refreshing relief from banging around in the dark and bloodying your shins. Recovery also means doing a lot of group therapy work. Group therapy is awesome. I've got a men's group that meets on Tuesday night. If you're in the Indianapolis area, guys, and you're either codependent and that's not working for you, or counter-dependent and that's not working for you, or if you have a wife or a girlfriend that has abandonment issues, come join us. It's only $25. You'll find a room that's about half locker room and about half therapy. It's fabulous. Great group of guys. And guys who are getting better and getting healthier. So you have got to have a lot of feedback and a lot of accountability. Abandonment issues can get better, but they don't get better very quickly. It takes a great deal of outside feedback and accountability. Having abandonment issues is a very serious condition. I believe it's the most painful condition there is known to mankind from a psychological level and the most difficult to heal. A woman from Australia wrote to me, and she was a little disappointed in the recovery part of my book. She wrote, I would like to have read some practical steps to do in the moment when I'm feeling abandoned, particularly to manage the feeling without transferring it and becoming reactive and taking it out on the person I perceived has abandoned me. I'm not 100% sold on these issues not being healed completely, and I'm wondering whether it's more of recognizing the triggers and managing it myself and or healing the wound piece by piece. That woman's a very smart woman. She addresses a lot of relevant issues in this very intelligent comment and question. So she's saying, give me some things I can do in the moment. And I am going to be focusing on a lot of tools, a lot of weaponry that you can use in your battle against abandonment issues in the book that's going to be released as soon as I get it written. But let me tell you, your best your best bet in being able to not dance the crazy dance is deep, healing, family of origin work on yourself. And then slowly being able to detach from the enmeshment and the crazy dance, and then have that healthiness spill over and reign over on your partner. So first, she wants practical steps in the moment when she's feeling abandoned. I can understand that. So she doesn't take it out on the person she perceives as abandoning her. Everyone wants practical steps that they can do because it gives them a sense of control. And I could tell you what to do, but you wouldn't be able to do it without first having the insight and doing the family of origin work. The most helpful tool in the toolbox is awareness about your abandonment issues, awareness and healing of your family of origin issues. Knowing what abandonment is and where it comes from and how powerful it is, what your very sensitive buttons are, all in that crucial moment when you want to react like a 2-year-old, having all those tools and insights is what gives you the power to not react. And that requires you to get healthy. It requires years of hard work in therapy bathed in tears. I'm just telling you like it is, folks. If you could do this in 6 weeks without crying, I'd be all for it. It's going to take years, and you'll be bathed in tears. And even then, you're not going to heal it. You're just going to become better at managing it. Your abandonment feelings don't have to rule and dominate you. They're separate from you in a way. They sort of have a life of their own. So it's so helpful and liberating to not be controlled by irrational, infantile feelings. This self-knowledge is what allows you to step back and objectively analyze what happened, what you're feeling, what would be a normal reaction to that situation, and what would be a healthy, respectful response. This type of empowering self-knowledge comes only from spending a great deal of time in doing your recovery work and a great deal of time doing your therapy. Your relationship desperately needs a very skilled referee who gets the calls absolutely right just about every time. Abandonment issues are sneaky. Abandonment fears can be the root of all kinds of little subtle situations that end up as huge, titanic, ugly battles. You'll need the help of an experienced therapist who can pick up on the subtle, underlying abandonment motivations that can turn a seemingly innocent disagreement into Armageddon. You're too close to the front lines of battle to be objective and insightful enough to think through the complicated nature of these explosive little reactions that come from very deep wounds of childhood. Every week in my office I see abandonment-infested couples who come with tension and near hatred in the waiting room and leave an hour later holding hands. That's because both parties were held accountable and then gained an understanding of what was really going on. They shifted from being adversaries to being compassionate therapy buddies in the space of an hour. A little genuine insight goes a long way. I love it when a previously bitter, angry spouse shifts into a place of wounded little kid inside in front of their partner, and then their partner shows empathy and tenderness. It's very magical. Without that kind of help and left to your own devices, it's going to be a never-ending shitstorm. You know what I'm talking about. So if you don't have that kind of therapist locally, then we do have those kinds of therapists at Family Tree. If you don't have a big budget, I've got currently 2 interns that know a lot about abandonment issues because I've been training them. and they can see you for $30 a session. And they'll work with you via Skype. And then I have a gal who works for $65 who's got a couple years of experience, I think 3 years now. And then one who works for $85. Jerry, his fee is $150 now. Andy's, I think, is $125. Steve's is $125, and mine is $175. It's expensive, but if you have the resources, that would be a good place to put them, is invest them in your relationship if you're suffering from this kind of pain and this kind of intensity and this kind of drama and this kind of crazy dance. You'll be amazed at how much understanding things and understanding the process of recovery can really move you in the right direction. So if you haven't joined our YouTube site, Family Tree Counseling, then do so. It's exploding. It really is. We're getting it's about 625 views a day now. So that's amazing. And a lot more comments and forwards and likes. So we love YouTube, and we love reaching out to all you people. And remember, if you can't afford an expensive therapist, then just watch these videos and read. We have over 300 articles on our website, familytreecounseling.com. And we put out blogs every week. Read our blogs. Those are all free. You can sustain your recovery and make a lot of changes without spending a nickel. So, but then I also have my books. I do have one on abandonment issues that you really must read. If you're a couple that fights a lot and has a lot of jealousy, has a lot of instability, you got to read my book. I think it's $10.95. It's worth it. Managing Abandonment Issues Through Recovery. Get it at familytreecounseling.com. I have a great book on shame recovery, on counterdependency in men, on affair recovery. And if there's an affair in your marriage and you need to stop thinking like a victim, then download my book on affair recovery. So, folks, it's a beautiful day in October, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching this video.